Okay, hello. Do. We'll give this a try today. Just getting set up here, guys. If anybody's on. Let's see if this works. Is this working? But I log on to Twitch and find out. I think it is. Certainly, it looks like it is. What does this mean right here? I don't know what that means. Only had one drop frame notice, so that's good. Kind of an old one. Also good. Hey, I am live. Woohoo! Hold on, folks. Just getting set up here. Mm. Okay. Get ourselves some new palette paper. Change out the old trusty wet palette. Okay. Alrighty. So, working on the orc guy here. Got some feedback from a painter that I really respect about some things to do, and in some ways he's like, effectively you have too much contrast. Well, how do you figure that? It's like, wow. I don't think I've ever been told too much contrast. That's pretty crazy, right? So the skin has too much contrast in certain places. He's like, realize don't everywhere you have like a crease or a fold or whatever, doesn't have to be deep shadow. And I might have gone overboard there. So he's somebody I really, really respect as a painter. So I'm gonna take his advice and change the skin up a little bit, add some more texture to it in general as well. Um, it's too smooth, you know. Too smooth can be bad for skin. So we're gonna add some more texture to skin, change it up a little bit. I talked with David Colwell about it. If you're not familiar with David Colwell and his painting, you are really missing out. The dude's just phenomenal. Absolutely amazing painter. And yeah. So I'm going to be working on some of those skin tones, and we will see how it goes. If you have questions, feel free. Sorry, I'm grabbing some paint here, guys. If you have questions, feel free to ask. I am going to be using, let's see if I can find it. Where we go. That's blue. I'm trying to find, do I have a clear purple? There we go. So for the skin tones, I'm going to be using the bronze triad, which is this right here. Some clear red, some clear purple, and a little bit of bright ivory. So that's what we're going to be working on. Just getting rolling here. So I'm going to be doing a lot with makeup brushes, filbert brushes, anything that's not kind of a normal standard brush for the most part, because I'm trying to avoid the very obvious brush stroke that comes with a normal brush with what I'm going to be doing. So yeah, his advice was make it a whole lot messier. Like, okay, sure. If you haven't seen David Colwell's work, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's crazy. Trying to get set up here. What else do we need? We got paint, we got brushes. So one of the brushes I'm going to be using, this is the Rosemary & Co. Smush brush. This is like the medium smush. Yeah, medium smush brush. I have their small smush. I don't find it as useful. We're going to bring it out anyways, but I don't find it as useful. I'm not exactly sure why I don't like it, but it doesn't just seem to work as well. We have makeup brushes here. Also have, this is a very small filbert brush. So it comes to a point, but it's also a little, it's called cat's tongue. So it's only at a point because it is real sharp there. So, and then we're going to use another filbert brush like this. So that's what we're going to do. Let's get some paint out on the palette and start going at it. We're just going to see what we can do. I'm just not happy with the skin. I don't hate it, but I'm just not really, I don't feel like it should wear. Hey, thanks for the follow. I5 paints. IFE paints. Something like that. So, yeah. Hopefully everything's going okay here. Everybody staying safe. Just gonna lay out kind of my base colors here on the palette. Make sure that everything's working here. Okay. I gotta get a paper towel. Yeah, I'm showing a little bit of lag here on the streaming. Don't know why. It's really annoying though. Because I have just ridiculous internet and I never have any issues with YouTube. I-Fi or I-Fi? I-Fi? I-Fi paints? How's it going? What are you working on? Well, let's go ahead and get the rest of these just kind of laid out here. So, yep. This is a project I hope to have done around this time last year. And I got to a point where I just wasn't satisfied with it. So I kind of put it aside for a while, picking it back up. I'd like to finish it this year. We'll see. It's just such a beautiful piece. That I've been super picky about it. And it's one of those things you just shouldn't be. Like, you shouldn't be nearly as picky about some of this stuff as I am. Like, there's value in knowing when, it's done, right? So, I don't know. Hopefully, do that. All right. I said I didn't use this one much, but we're gonna try it. We're gonna try it with this. Iffy, iffy. That's how you say it. Okay. All right. So we're just gonna take. We're just gonna work. He was saying that this down here he would not make nearly as dark. We're gonna work that back up a little bit. Bring in some of our shadow. This. Some of these places he was just saying, they don't have to quite be that dark. We're going to kind of work them back up a little bit. Contemplating reorganizing the hobby room. Is it not very organized at all? Or is it just not organized how you like it? Those are two totally different things, right? Sorry. Trying to pull up this picture. Okay. I'm using this brush because, we're going to avoid any of the kind of telltale marks while we still get some texture. And that's really what we're going to start to look for here is texture. The skin is too pretty. It's too smooth. He's not like a 16-year-old girl kind of thing, So we're just kind of tweaking this a little bit. We're going to take... Just mixing some of that purple in there. That under there was bugging me because that was way too bright. Now we're just kind of sketching in these values here on top of what we had, because what we had was kind of like almost there. Just wasn't quite. It was among some things. It was just too smooth. And skin has a bit of texture to it, and that's kind of what we're trying to add back in here, is some of the texture here. Ah, Reapercon boxes. Fun. Need to shift things. Bought another and debating what. Oh, nice. Yeah, there's some good stuff in some of those Reapercon boxes, right? No, I was at Reapercon last year, but with it going virtual this year, obviously, no, can't be actually at Reapercon. What all do you have coming from ReaperCon? I'm just going through here. We're picking up some highlights. Alright, so we're going to come back here. We're going to tone some of this down a little bit. Some of this is just a little too dark and gloomy. Nice thing about a brush like this is it just kind of feathers it in there without really having to do too much work. And if we want to, we can come back afterwards and kind of tweak it without a lot of work. If we're using a kind of normal paintbrush, then it can be kind of difficult to get, kind of smooth blends on things sometimes. And that's just because of the brush strokes we leave behind, automatically just show up. Just because it's what we leave a hard line behind. It's really just because of the kind of brush we're using. There's no real way to get around it short of all these different, techniques that we've learned where it's, wet blending and things like that, which are great techniques, but the reality is they're really just concentrating on getting rid of a brush stroke that if we can avoid to begin with, like, by all means we should. Mega bundle. Oh, I was like, you play Pokemon with Reaper paints, and my brain was going, is it like a Pokemon game that Reaper endorses? Like, my brain was trying to like, what does that mean? And then what you mean is you gotta collect them all. I gotcha. I gotcha. I had a dumb moment there for a moment. It's a lot of paint, man. Reaver has a lot of paint. I'll tell you, I was totally like that. Very much gotta have them all. With a lot of things. Luckily, I never went down that road with the Reaper stuff because, whew, expensive. But what was I gonna say? Oh, I kind of did a purge of a lot of my painting stuff a while back. And I was like, you know what? I have all these paints sitting here that I never use. And I'm sure there's someone out there who will actually put them to use. So I'm adding some red around the knees here. And really, we just want the hint of red. We don't want like red. But, if you look at your own knees, there's a lot of blood flow there. So that's really what we're trying to capture, is that kind of pinkish hue on your knees, right? The technique I'm using here with this brush is really, it's kind of a dry brush technique a little bit, but it very much depends upon not rinsing the brush. Or if you do rinse it, you're going to have to you're definitely going to need to let it dry fully. I think I'm liking this better. It's feeling way less I don't know, manufactured. Bad habit of collecting things. I get you, man. I really do. I get you entirely. Yeah, I'm liking this a lot better. Bad habit of collecting things. Yeah, I don't blame you, man. There's a lot of, especially in this hobby, I feel like there's a lot of really kind of quote cool things. And it can be really easy to just be like, yeah, I definitely need those. Like sometimes I'll catch myself like buying a figure and then being like, you know what? I am never going to use that. Like I cannot imagine the scenario in which I will ever use that figure. It's like crap, why did I just spend that money on it? You know? But I did. Sometimes it's like something just looks so cool and I'm like, dang it, I just gotta have that. Like, even though I know that it's unlikely I will ever use it, I just gotta have it. Okay, so I'm just going through here. This skin has a very strong texture to the skin. So I'm kind of taking that advantage of that and letting that kind of show through, which is one thing that was not happening with the airbrushing before. Is I lost all of the texture on the skin. So good or bad, that's what happened. Okay, we're gonna come back in here with a little bit of this, and a little bit of this, and a little bit of this. I'm not entirely sure how long I'm gonna paint for tonight. We'll have to see. Just going through right now and making sure things are generally where I want. Ooh, I have not messed with this back arm at all. And like you can tell, there's a stark difference in like texture and stuff. Of like this over here and this over here. And this over here is something I haven't really messed with yet. Whereas the rest of it I have. You can tell there's a pretty big difference. Alright, I got into painting minis after getting interested in D&D, but I've never. So you're like, I play D&D. What do you play online? What you do? Um, I I got interested in painting minis after playing D&D, but it was with um like a D&D group locally. So, ooh, that's a little brighter than I wanted, isn't it? Um, yeah, my DM had like all these minis and they were unpainted. And I was like, so do people paint these things? Is this a thing that happens? And he's like, well, yeah. He's like, No, but I don't have time to paint these. And I was like, that might be something I could do, you know? Like, I'm pretty crafty. I'm pretty artistic. Though I'm utterly butchering the hands right now. So, but that's okay. I can come back and fix them. Just trying to get a little bit of a tonal shift there. See, we're just adding. What's your favorite class to play? What do you like to play? On D&D, what's your go-to class of choice? Are you a warrior or rogue or a... What do you like to do? Everybody's got their one that they really... Snowballed from there, huh? You're like, you know, I should have this mini even though I'm never going to use it. Okay. I think I'm liking this. Need to brighten up this a little bit right here. Oh, got too much right there. That's too bright. Wheel. Knock that down a little bit. There we go. What I'm going to do now is start working up the brightness just right along here. Make it a little brighter than the rest to help do kind of a spotlight effect. Really draw attention to his face. So we're going to work up brighter and brighter colors there. I still have not rinsed my brush off in all of this. Wizard or Barbarian. I have actually never played either. Yeah, for whatever reason, I just always end up playing more of a either a ranger or a thief. Like, I really wanted to try a barbarian or a monk last game that we were in, but kind of already had been taken by somebody else, and then the monk had, and they ended up really not playing much with us, so it was kind of like, huh, that sucks, you know. Like if I'd have known that they weren't going to be here, I would have done that. All right, sorry. More saturation here. Here. Okay. Alright, this is the point where I'm going to change brushes now. Because I'm going to apply some glazes and stuff. I don't want this brush for that. What are we going to do it with? Let's try it with this. We're going to try it with this filbert brush. We're going to do some kind of red, purpley glazes here. I'm going to go really thin on them. Wizard or Barbarian? How long you been painting for? If he paints. Been painting for long, or? I hate trying to get your brush back in places where sometimes it just really doesn't want to go. Right now I'm glazing in extra colors, because the more color we have, the more alive he's going to feel. The Reaper flesh tones are really nice at getting the correct values, I feel like, or at least they're good starting points for that. But I feel like they're not great when it comes to colors. Like, but I think they'd have to have way more. It wouldn't be a triad then. It would be something else, you know. You would need way more. Yeah, I think I'm liking this. Definitely looking a little better, I think. Especially in person. Not sure how well it's showing up on camera, but in person it's looking a lot better. Just gonna kind of add some more things around, make sure that really. Year and a half? Okay. What's your favorite piece that you've done? What's something that you really enjoyed working on? Just working on getting all these kind of under places appropriately dark. I had a few that weren't dark and it was really hurting the contrast of the piece. I don't think I've ever had somebody tell me use less, or yeah, that there's too much contrast. It's like, really? That's pretty funny. There's nothing wrong with that. The thing that some people get way too caught up in is, you know, this is supposed to be a hobby for a lot of people, and don't like, you know, don't kill yourself um over a hobby. Like, only do it when you enjoy it, kind of thing, you know? Like, if you only enjoy it in spurts, then only do it in spurts, and, you know, that's totally fine. Oh, I'll tell you right now, I think everybody's to paint is bigger than their painted. Like, I'll tell you right now, if somebody tells me that, I need proof that they have, you know, less to paint. All right, we're going to start moving into details now. Switching to a Raphael 8404. We're going to start just putting some details in, working with making sure that we got everything we want here. It's all about being subtle here. Yeah, if somebody says that their painted pile is larger than their unpainted, I'm definitely gonna need some proof. Put a lot of red up in these cheeks. Always come back out, but it's harder to add it back. You know? His fingers and his knuckles I don't love. I'm gonna have to address those, but not right now, I don't think. Just kind of making sure that all these ribs and stuff have at least some level of paint that I want. Yeah, I'm gonna have to put some more paint down. Really dry in here tonight for some reason. Yeah, so that's why I go through spurts where I take and don't take commissions, because commissions tend to stress me out. But they also help push me, you know? So King of Hell or Caphryxis. Yeah, those are both good ones. Yeah, they're fun to paint. Let me think. I don't think I've painted either of those though. What tends to happen largely with me is that sorry, I tend to paint. I tend to take breaks from painting, so I'll paint like super a lot for like several months, and then I'll just take like a few weeks off, you know, or I've taken a month off before. I just don't think there's anything wrong with taking some time off from it, being smart about it. A lot of people get so burnt out in this hobby because they try to take on too much. They get so burnt out that they're like, I never want to paint again. Well, like, why the heck would you let it get to that point? Like it's a hobby. Like, if you never want to paint again, like if you never want to do your hobby again, like you did your hobby wrong. Like, stop before it gets to that, Just kind of cleaning up. I'm not going to do too much on the face tonight. We'll see. Maybe I will. I don't. I think his teeth are probably too white. Like, I feel like he should probably have way more yellow in his teeth, I think. Like, need to throw a little red back in his thing. Just gonna kind of spread some red around in places. This helps to create blood vessels. I swear I was talking about something. I don't know what I was talking about now. Some more purple here. So yeah, yeah, I tend to go through spurts where I do a whole lot, and then I won't paint for a long time, and then I do a whole lot and I won't paint for a long time. It just really depends upon a lot of things. But like I always know that I'm gonna come back to it now. But I've only been painting, I don't know what, under 3 years, yeah, about 2.5 years. So going through and we're adding some purple now here. Purple's gonna contrast really heavily, so we want to make sure we're only using it in shadow places and that we're really nice and controlled with it. It's going to add a lot of depth. It's really easy for it to kind of get out of hand. So I'm just lazing some purple in here. I think we're going to add some pinks in, maybe. I like pinks. I've recently become a big fan of pink. I've been a big fan of purple for a long time. Pink just works really well on a lot of things. Yeah, I think he's looking better. He's looking a little better, at least. I think we're going to tone his leg down just a little bit. I think he's a little too bright. Just glazing some of the mid-tone over. Bring it a little back towards that. Let's grab some pink. We're going to grab magenta here. We're going to throw that as a glaze into some of the places. This is Pro Acryl paint. It's like super pigment rich, so you got to be careful with it. I'm just gonna, yeah, we'll see. It's very pastel. It's not gonna be like a super strong shadow, but it's gonna give us the illusion of some shadows without without necessarily being super dark. This is kind of something that I've picked up from watching another painter recently, Marco? No. I know who it is, I'm just not sure. I don't know. They're on the heavy metal group. They use all sorts of great colors in their shadows. And it really sells it well. Like, so we're just adding hints of it here. Just to help us kind of sell some things without being super dark, right? So you can tell we're starting to get some contrast just from the use of color rather than value, which is good. Don't always want to have everything come just from having everything super dark and super light. So just glazing some pinks in here. Put a little in here, up here, here. Alrighty. So I think I'm about good with that. I'm really liking it, I think. Add just a touch of it in here. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Just a little more here. Let's go ahead and address these teeth because they're driving me bonkers. They're just a little too white. I want them a little more like, what did he have for dinner kind of thing. What should we do? We can take just a yellow, but I'm afraid that's going to go too yellow. Let's try like an ochre. Let's give them like a glaze of a yellow ochre. Don't want them really brown. They're brown, they're just going to blend in. I think I need to go brighter a little bit on my kind of this area a little bit here still. I think it needs to be just a little bit brighter still. This is a little bit stronger than I wanted. Getting a little too yellow. That's okay. We'll see how it dries. You can always come back and change it. Yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and kind of almost, not quite base coat these, but a little bit. And then we're just going to come back with some colors that are not nearly as bold. I just don't want them that intense, I think. Let's do a little aged bone. Because I think we were not up to white, we were really close, and that was just for orc ogre teeth. That was just a little too intense. Don't know that I'm loving that either, but we will see. What we're going to do is we're going to make sure that the tips are highlighted more. We want to give the impression that they're sharp, and that will just help sell that, right? Take a little bit of a bright ivory, and I've got some bone color. Mixed it in my bone color. I think I'm going to get a palette cam. Taking these and we're just highlighting these just a little bit. Okay. And take the bright ivory and just give them just kind of a dot of a highlight. There we go. That's what I want right there. Alright, so I think those look a little better. They're a little less like stark white, but I think that they need a little bit more brown towards the gum. So we're going to take a little bit of the Seraphim Sepia, just some wash, and we're going to run it just along their gums. And we will see.